What's up?
What's going on?
Not much. You ready to do this?
I'm not real sure what we're doing here. This is new to me.
Yeah, it's new to me. It's new to this channel. So check it out, and y'all will be able to see the progression as we progress.
Right on.
You're listening to Off the Gas and On the Mic with Chase Holland.
So as you may or may not have heard by now, that is the name of our podcast, Off the Gas and On the Mic with Chase Holland. It's going to be a variety of topics along the lines of racing, as well as having other guests and stuff that have nothing to do with racing, just getting their take on situations and things. So, yeah, y'all join us for that. Before we get too deep into it, y'all please hit the like button down below and subscribe to this channel or follow this channel so that you never miss a podcast. So let's get into it.
Hello. I'm Chavis Holland. This is my son, Chase Holland.
Yep.
We are dirt track racers, YouTubers, and this is a new adventure. And this is a public podcast that we're doing free of charge. It'll be on our YouTube channel. If you like what you see, we're planning on doing a lot more of it. And like Chase just said, we're going to, we do the racing stuff. This is going to be a different channel here. This is going to be a different podcast. This is more outside of the racing stuff. It may have some racing themes or racing people that we bring in that we talk about other stuff with, but that's what it's about. Chase Holland Racing is our YouTube channel. Chase is a third generation racer. He was a kart racer at 5 years old and has worked his way clear up to dirt late models. That's what's sitting behind us right here. Yep. It's been a heck of a journey, and we've met a lot of people along the way. We've learned a lot of stuff. We've done a lot of things that we never imagined we would do. And
yeah, it's insane, and it, while you're living it, it's like, my goodness, it's taken forever. But when you look back, it's like, wow, man. Just 5 years ago, just the transformation of stuff, going from, we started out as hobbyists, just going to the dirt track, our local dirt track every Friday and Saturday night with just our friends and family sponsoring us, to landing corporate deals and making family members across the United States. So,
yeah, I was just talking to some fans this weekend, and I was talking to them about the growth, I guess you would call it, over the years, and they were saying, man, we've been watching, they throw me off when they talk about watching our old videos, from, we're talking right at 4 years ago now, maybe right. Over 4 years ago was our first videos. So when they talked to me about watching those older videos, I was telling the guy, I said, man, I watched a video from earlier this year, and I had already forgot. I'm like, wow, we've done a lot this year, and he's talking about 4 years ago. So it's pretty cool. It's been an awesome journey. But what this podcast today is going to be about, it's about YouTube. A lot of people are interested. We get a lot of questions about YouTube all the time, and we're going to go through this podcast in a format to where we're going to try to answer a lot of the questions that have been asked, and we're going to share info that maybe will be helpful to someone who's wanting to, do a YouTube channel, whether you're playing golf or racing, or if you're a baseball player, bass fisherman, whatever you're doing. Hopefully we give you something of value that you can take away from here and apply to what you're doing, because a lot of the stuff that we do is, we're not paving the way. We're kind of feeling our way through this, but some of this stuff has been done maybe in a whole nother aspect, and we use that information to kind of guide us through this right here. So right. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, we're going to dive down deep into it and talk about how YouTube has changed our lives in racing.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
Let's go. All right. So the early days.
Take me back.
Man, I miss those days a lot. It started with us. I mean, you've always been into racing.
Right.
And people, like I said, you third generation racer, so you grew up around it. You watched me build race cars. You was the first one to roll out of the shop in a couple cars that I built. little bitty thing, and
I often say, it's like you did a lot of those things before I was old enough to appreciate and enjoy it. I look back at those things and I'm like, wow, like I wish we could do that today. So I think it's really neat, and I've forgotten a lot of that stuff. So
yeah, and I don't ever want to do that again. I lost my butt building race cars, and I aged a lot. But anyway, I took you out to the go-kart track. What harm? I worked 5 days a week, and I had you and the girls on the weekend, or really it was just you and when we were first doing this, and we went to the local go-kart track just to go watch.
I remember.
You was 4 years old.
Yep.
And we left with a go-kart in the back of the truck.
I vividly remember that part of it.
Yes. So I bought a cart, and I brought it home.
Was it the first time?
First time we went, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah,
I thought it was like the third night that
buddy.
we went. Literally, the first night we went, we
went,
left with the go-kart.
We went, and I told myself all the way there, no matter what, we are not getting involved in this. And I wrote a check for the cart and brought it home. And I broke it to your mom. I thought it was going to be bad, but she took it well, because up to that point, you was riding a little battery-operated little John Deere Gator thing around in her yard, and you would make a lap around and then stop, had an old big helmet on, and would get off and woohoo. And you were interested in racing.
Oh, I loved it.
You loved
it.
So we got you to go-kart, and your mom's only stipulation when she saw it, she said, as long as he's safe. So I've never spared expense on safety ever since the beginning. And we got you going in the go-kart. I found out real quick that any form of motorsports is expensive, and you really need sponsors. Well, fortunate for you, we own the business.
Yep.
And we were able to help with a lot of it. But we also, when people saw what we were doing, you being a kid, they wanted to help. So it was easy to find sponsors when you were young, because we're talking $200 a year for a sponsorship back then. So we had a couple little sponsors, and I kept in touch with them through emails and stuff. This is old school stuff. This is before Facebook and things. So we communicated through emails, and I did little race reports, and they really connected. Your mom's always said I had a gift of writing, so I would write up a race report that made it feel like, they would message me back and be like, man, feel like we're there. Do we need another motor? Does he need tires? Seriously, people were giving us money based off of just, they were connected.
Right.
And, that really got me excited, and that went on as you grew, and these sponsors became, family to us. And anyway, we kept that alive, and as you got bigger, we did all kinds of racing. We went through karts on dirt, and we went to asphalt, and we went to cage karts, and then we went to these things called bandoleros on asphalt. And when you turn 14 years old, wasn't it 14?
It was.
We bought you a dirt track modified, and I was scared to death. And I was also scared, like, how are we going to afford this? And the same thing, a lot of the sponsors you had through karts hung in there. I started writing a magazine article right around the time you started racing. A magazine came to me, a local hot rod magazine, and said, man, I like what you do on Facebook. By then Facebook had come along, and he said, I'd like for you to write my book. So I started writing there, and that got us some more sponsors. We landed a guy that I knew from way back when I raced, a guy named John Robichaux. And he was just one of many, but John reached out to me and said, man, I love what you're doing. Y'all are doing it right, and I want to help. So he was a big part when we got the car. And I think he was the end of the karts, but when we got the car, he was in on that. And early on, we blew a motor, and he helped me get a really big motor that we ended up taking to Bristol later. And the reason that's important, if John hadn't helped me get that motor, we wouldn't have went to Bristol, and we wouldn't have met Chad Weirs and Weirs
really
Machine.
Kickstarted what we have here.
And our YouTube and everything. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there was a lot of people early on that helped us get in front of people that I never imagined we would ever get in front of. So something that I skipped, what really got us rolling I would say, was the Big Eyed videos.
Oh, yeah, the notorious Big Eyed videos. I still have people come up to me and are like, man, I love those Big Eyed videos. Y'all need to do more. Fortunately, Facebook took away the filter. But I remember you doing those videos, and you had a script. You wrote all this stuff down, and we laughed about it, and we never really thought that you would take part in it and do it. So whenever you started showing Mom and I and the girls, look, this is here it is. We were like, we knew it, so
funny,
it wasn't
but
as
it's
funny
cheesy,
to us.
yeah.
So we were like, this is a joke. When you posted those videos, I wish we posted them today. They'd be worth a lot of money.
That was viral before we knew what viral was.
Right. I remember you had even drag racers sharing that stuff. Yes. Like, it was crazy the amount of attention that you sucked in from that, and you did the trackside stuff, you did the chassis builder, you did several different skits.
I flat put myself out there because it was a thing. I remember the first time I ever hit post on one of them, that first one. And if you're wondering, they're called The Things You Hear at the Dirt Track. You could look up on YouTube, on Facebook, and probably type in The Things You Hear at the Dirt Track, and it'll probably pull me up with a bug-eyed filter. And the first time I hit play, I remember feeling sick because it's one of those things that it's either going to be really good or it was going to be the most embarrassing thing I ever done in my life.
Yeah.
But, man, it took off, and it got out there to so many people, and it got to where – and back then we didn't travel and race or anything, but we did end up going to Baton Rouge. First time we had ever been to Baton Rouge. And I remember people just came up as we got there. Man, I love that video. Man, are y'all on the 8-bar setup? They were making references to things that we had said in the video, and it was fun, man. And it really, I would say, really helped us get a following because it grew your racing page. And, I would have to say that was the jump start. And I don't know that you have to have that, but it sure helped.
It definitely helped, 100%. It gathered attention that we were able to continue to have weekly. After you attracted those people, they stayed for the regular racing content.
So all of that to say this, what about YouTube? What was your thoughts on YouTube at that time? Because I had my audience on Facebook.
Right.
So this is where we kind of
clashed a little bit. At the time, my friends and I at school watched Mr. Beast, several other reputable YouTubers that are huge.
Whistling Diesel.
Yeah, he came later. Okay. But yeah, people like that today. So, and we were like, man, they're making money. We heard they're making millions. They're making this or whatever. And it was like, that's out of reach. That'll never happen. Hunt the Front shows up.
There they are.
And we're like, they're doing it. And, we watched Hunt the Front progressively grow. And you were already creating, race vlogs to an extent of.
They were doing the same thing. They were writing a vlog called Hunt the Front.
Yep.
And we were both talking about doing videos, them and us at the same time, and they took off.
They did. And I remember us going, you and I just kept back and forth. It was just a spitballed idea. We went to Why Not Motorsports Park. I believe it was a Street Stock National.
It was.
Okay. Jonathan Joyner, we met him, and they knew us from the Big Eyed videos. He was like, y'all, you did that, blah, blah, blah. They were great. And he was like, man, we're out of hats.
Yeah.
I can't. I
First
wish I
day
had
of the
hats.
Street Stock Nationals, he said, I brought a whole case, and I'm out. Now they hauling a trailer around the country selling out of merch, so that was really cool.
So they weren't even prepared for that. And, at that moment, it was like, wow, that's crazy. That's impressive. So we have to tap into that.
Yeah.
So, and again, we were already kind of not doing a full vlog, but you were creating, this
Facebook
content here and there.
videos,
So, that's where it started. And then finally we just made the leap. And at January of 21, or no, 2019, or 20, one of the two. Yeah, I just started driving, so I was 16 at the time. And in that January, we posted our first video.
And that's where we go from here. So, YouTube, we were making the videos, racing locally, sharing our point of view.
Yep.
And we had this constant battle back and forth between us because we would I was still posting the videos to Facebook, and they were getting 20, 30,000 views.
They were getting mega views,
20,
like really
30,000
good.
views. Like our Big Eyed videos was close to 1 million at the time, like 750,000, 800,000 views on, and I had multiple ones of them going, so people knew who we were. So our regular weekly videos that were just us racing weekly, and we were terrible, but they're out there for everybody to see on Facebook. But so we had 20, 30,000 views, and you're on me. We got to put them on YouTube. We got to put them on YouTube. And man, I'm like, I don't. Why are we putting our content that we work hard on in front of nobody?
And
There's nobody there.
That was the other problem. It's like I had 100 subscribers on YouTube from GoPro videos. That's all I posted was in-car clips. So we had 98 to 100 subscribers. And when we post a video, I think they got maybe 50, 60 views.
I'm just
I argued you down.
We're going to make money from them. I'm like, how? There's nobody here.
Yeah.
I could just hear crickets when we were over there. I just didn't get it.
And but we weren't making money off of Facebook. Yeah. So let's put it that way. There was no money being made.
That was your argument. You was like, there's no money being made here, and there will never be money made here. If we can get this over here, there's money to be made. And I just couldn't comprehend that. I'm like, how? How do you make money here? And you explained about some advertisements and commercials and that YouTube page, and I still didn't get it. I didn't comprehend. So I had a guy reach out to me, and I don't remember exactly the time frame, but Eddie Smith, he was from Farmington, Missouri, which is, I had to pull out a map and try to find out where that was. It was 9 hours from us, maybe. Eddie's a trucker. He had a trucking business, has a trucking business called West Trucking. Yep. And Eddie reached out to me, just friendly, hey, how's it going? I watch y'all's videos. You really make me feel the family, the father-son. Yeah, he was connected because of our father-son relationship working together in the videos. He liked what he saw.
I still don't know. I can't remember, and Eddie would be able to tell us. Did he come from Facebook or YouTube? I don't know that.
I'm not sure either.
I know he followed us on Facebook, but I don't know if when we moved to YouTube, is that when he pulled the trigger or what? So, but I do know.
I would be willing to bet he found us on Facebook.
100%.
I think I remember it being my Bug-Eyed videos, and he just liked the page after that, and he was watching our weekly updates that we did, which is basically what we put on YouTube today, but it was a little more rough around the edges.
Yeah.
So anyhow, Eddie, messaged me, and we talked back and forth, and he told me he wanted to meet up with us. He wanted to sponsor us, and that was exciting, man. I mean, I remember coming and telling y'all ain't gonna believe this guy's out of Missouri, and he's wanting to.
Mom thought he was gonna kidnap us.
Yeah, she did. She really did. So Adrian was tripping out. Well, you are not meeting somebody off the internet. What if he tries to kidnap y'all? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think we can handle it.
So we met him in a public place, which happened to be a racetrack that was about to open locally from us, and he was curious about it himself, and he was actually dating a lady in Florida, so he was coming down to visit her. Worked out just right. We met him out at the track. And, man, I'm going to tell you, from the first time I met Eddie, he's been a friend of mine.
100%.
Absolutely. One of the nicest people you'll ever meet, which I can see he doesn't meet a stranger, and he's like that with everybody, but Eddie's my brother.
Yep.
And, I mean, he's good people. Miss Britta, Tom, the whole family, love them all. But when Eddie met us, he gave Chase a check. Said there'll be more where that came from. Made a deal with him that every feature you win, I'll buy you one new right rear tire. Still holds true to that today.
Yep.
Eddie's just been great, and he's my counselor. I call Eddie and talk to Eddie a lot, among other people. But Eddie's one of my people that I'll call him and say, "Hey, put your counselor hat on because I need some talking here." But
so let's put a time frame on Eddie. So we started in January of that year.
Right.
We met Eddie probably in August.
Yeah.
That racetrack ended up opening up for the first time the 1st of September, end of August, 1st of September. So we run that. We meet Mr. Eddie, and we go through all of that. We then decide, hey, it's time, because there's a MB Custom in our area. It's K Dillard Racing over in Louisiana, and these cars were whipping us every weekend.
Yes.
And it was like, it's time to make a move. We went from a Hughes Racing chassis. I was a senior in high school. And I think real quick, before we get too far into it, I believe in that same time frame, I was in the stage of, I believe, 17 years old.
Oh, you thought you were ready to run the world.
I was like, look, by the time I'm 20, I'm going to be snapping my fingers and we'll have chassis showing up. Yeah. And look, we were broke.
We were broke.
I was
I'm doing
100%
all I could
unfunded, family funded.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, and I remember at the time, and I didn't mean that disrespectfully. It was more so just me daydreaming of what I was going to have.
I'm going to have this. And when I get, I'm going to have that. And, man, it rubbed me wrong one day. And we turned in Orange County choppers out here.
Yeah, I had my air filter sitting on top of my tire machine, which wasn't much, but it was a lot to me at the time. So I had this air cleaner, the upper and the base, and it was sitting there with the pre-filter on it. And I just remember that tire machine did about 4 barrel rolls, and that air filter, I think you picked it up.
I kicked the tire machine, I think.
No, I think you grabbed it because it had that arm. I don't know. Either way, the tire machine did its thing, and then I think you either kicked or slung that air cleaner, and it hit the tire.
I remember slamming it, but I think I kicked the tire machine. But it don't matter.
It doesn't. Either way, the air filter, the air cleaner got bent really, really bad. Yeah. And I just remember sitting there like, I didn't mean to disrespect him. It was just more so of, you know, a man can dream.
Yeah,
so
it was an instance where I felt like I was doing all I could do, and to hear you say what you were going to do and someday I'm going to have, I'm like, man, he don't appreciate what he's got, and I just lost it. Like any parent would, I'm sure. Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people that come to us now, that's the thing. They say, man, we can relate. We can relate. Y'all are real. Yeah. You know, and we don't put everything in because people don't want to see us fight. I don't think. Maybe so. Maybe sometimes they probably like to see us fight.
Probably like that.
But we don't sugarcoat it either. You know? I mean, we're pretty real about everything. But,
so yeah, that stuff happened, and then a couple weeks or so, and it was all in that same time frame. But again, we were getting outran by MB Customs locally, and for my graduation present, y'all said, "Well, I'm going to get you a new or new to you race car. What do you want?"
Right.
Well, we had Hughes cars, so originally we wanted a Hughes racing chassis, and things just didn't work out. But that opened the doors to Cade Dillard. We messaged Cade. My mom worked with Cade a little bit here and there, and Cade said, I've got the car. Yeah. So we get this car, and it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. Like the fabrication skills and, you know, the pride that's taken into these MB Customs is insane. So we get this car, and it's like, wow.
It looked like a spaceship to me compared to what we
and the bolt-ons that were on it. I just remember being like, oh, my goodness. Yeah. You know, and we got a roller. Yeah. So it's like, you know, there's not really a whole lot there, but it's like there's a lot here.
We're looking at these things like, where's machine? What is this stuff? Where's machine? Yeah, and we know now, but at the time, it had some parts on it that was like nothing we had ever seen down here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Billet trickery. I mean.
Yeah. So we get this car, and we had our engine that we called the Money Eater. And the reason we called it the Money Eater is because at the end at the end of it, we could have bought probably 2 Mullins motors for what you had in it. Yeah. But it was cheaper to pay the $3,000 or the $4,000 or the $7,000 to keep repairing that one engine. So we had about, I think it was a 376, maybe a 386. What was it? I don't remember what cubic inch it was. It wasn't a real big engine, but it did the job. So we got that engine, and we get this new car, and then we stick this engine in that car, and we had the MSD wires flipped in it.
So Good story here.
Right.
But we had taken the Money Eater to Mr. Ronnie Rogers. Like I said, I'm tired of paying $2,000 and $3,000 to all these guys that are patching this motor. I want it done right. So it was broke again. I took it to Mr. Ronnie Rogers, and I dropped it off to him. This is before I crossed the wires up on it.
Yeah.
So I bring it to him. He built, and he says, the only way I'm going to touch this motor is if I tear it all the way down and build it. It's going to be my motor. And I was like, do it. He builds this thing, and we go in the Hughes, and we are like fast. Best this engine's ever been. So then we get rid of the Hughes and the MBs here, and we take it straight out and put it in the MB.
Yeah, right in.
Wires plugged straight in. Didn't think to, just to tell you how inexperienced, goofy, stupid, whatever you want to call us, we didn't know any better, that didn't think that those wires could be backwards, and they were. So we detonated that engine. We did, and then we took it over to Cade Dillard for some practice, and Cade got in it and ran it.
And it was flat. He just said there was something wrong with it. Yeah. And Dad just took it that we just didn't have enough engine, because that was the thing. Everybody said, oh, you need a motor for these things. They require an engine. So we're like, well, we just don't have enough motor. Yeah. Well, we take it to Outlaw Speedway. First lap, first straight away, I stood down in it in 3 and 4, and it popped in 1 and 2. Yep. So we're like, well, that's the end of our season. This was a play day, and I believe February.
Yeah,
I think February.
Now, what we're missing here, we had done check the box for Bristol.
Yeah,
we signed up. I'm taking the kid to Bristol.
Yeah,
we going to the half.
Never
mile.
Been away from home.
No.
Never been farther than 2.5 hours from home.
New car, no problem. Young kid, no experience, no problem. We're going to Bristol, baby. So we loaded up. We had that comes down to the YouTube.
Right.
The guy that I talked about earlier, John Robichaux, he comes up and he helps me with an engine, and that's what we put in the car. That got us to Bristol, and that allowed us to meet Billy.
Yep.
And when we met Billy Steinberg, he was super excited to meet us, and we didn't really know who he was, but because we met a lot of fans, that was eye opening for us. First time we've ever traveled with our new YouTube channel. And, man, there was a lot of fans there. But Hunt the Front was there, and they sold more T-shirts than Scott Bloomquist or anybody.
Majority of the merchandise there was Hunt the Front.
So we were excited, and we had a lot of fans. But when we met Billy Steinberg, and he was so excited to meet us, and he introduced us to Chad Weirs. Chad had no clue who we were, didn't understand why Billy was so excited. Yeah. So we're over there talking to Billy, and Billy's all excited and everything, and Chad looks over at Adrian. He don't even realize that Adrian is with us, and Chad is like, who are these guys? And Adrian said, well, that's my almost famous son. And Chad got a kick out of it. He met us, and the rest is history. Chad and his family, great people.
100%.
The boys, Brenda, all of them, everybody that works at Weir's Machine, they've done a lot for us, and that goes along.
And you need to do your research on Chad's story. Chad's got a really neat story about how he came to where he's at today. So
it wasn't handed to him, and it wasn't an easy road. But you know, they say the best view comes after the hardest climb, and I'm gonna tell you, that guy, he's
an innovator.
He's an inspiration to a business owner. But so Chad was our first big sponsor that we landed through the YouTube channel, and allowed us to grow this thing we got going, and we're going to talk about that right here. So
Bristol was eye-opening.
Bristol was very eye-opening, and the main thing for me was we knew right away that we had to travel.
Yeah.
Like that was so eye-opening that we can't do this local racing, and not knocking anything, but if we're going to grow this that we got started
we got to
here,
leave. We got to get out of here.
But why, Chase? What made us say that?
The merchandising,
we sold out.
That.
we thought we had so much.
We brought
stuff.
4 totes of merchandise.
It was unheard of to have that kind of. Yeah. That was everything we had.
Yeah, that was it. That was our full inventory, and we had guys buying pink shirts that were 2 sizes too small and too big. You know what I mean? Just crazy.
Didn't care. They just wanted to support us, and the YouTube channel. I think when we were back and forth, we were not real sure. I wish we had that documented better, but we're thinking we were around 3,500 subscribers when we went to Bristol. And
I know we surpassed 10,000 within the week after Bristol, like blew up then.
Like we put the videos out. I want to say while we were there, I uploaded the videos, and one of them, the main one, which was one of our biggest videos for the longest time, was I think it was Mom and Dad Get Emotional or something.
It's Bristol, baby. Mom and Dad Get Emotional. Yeah, something like that.
And I still love to hear Rocky tell that story because you just went out and went, and it was awesome. And so we grew a lot. We grew 6,500 subscribers just off of that trip to Bristol. And
not to mention the attention of regular people, all kinds of people. Like I got offered to get on podcasts, all kinds of stuff. Like we were meeting people that we never would have met otherwise.
Right. Just like Chad Weir's, like I said, now we're sponsored by Weir's Machine and Racing Products. Got their big sticker, got a story of it and video of it and all this cool stuff. So we get back home and we're washing panels out there one day, and Mom calls and she's like, hey, I got some people out of Georgia that are wanting to buy some doors and quarter panels. They don't care what they look like. They just want them. Yeah. And we're like, okay, we'll sell them. So now we're selling doors and quarter panels, and the locals were really hating on us, just to be honest with you. I mean, I heard some of them, they told me like, and I heard from other people, they were hating on it. Y'all, you're selling old junk panels for something. We're like, hey,
if it makes money, it makes sense. So
we're doing it. So the people that were buying those panels that particular day, because we sold a lot of panels and shipped a lot of panels, but the people that day was actually Ted and Shannon from Industrial Dock and Door, and it was very exciting that they wanted to buy our junk panels, but then they came down, I don't remember the time frame, probably a few weeks afterwards, and came to bring us a check.
I know it was in the summertime. They bought panels probably in May, and then I think we saw them in probably June or July.
Yeah. Came down to bring a check, and if y'all are racing, we'd like to come. And we were happened to be racing out locally here, and they came out to the track, and, man, again, just instantly hit it off with them, have a lot of things in common. Just really good, down-to-earth business people.
Yep.
And they saw that you had talent. They saw that we weren't capable of taking you where we dreamed of taking you, and they wanted to help. And, man, they did. And we've had some long talks with Ted and Shannon, and it's been amazing. And they, when you look back on someone's career, there's usually a person that really
stands out,
picks somebody up, and definitely, there's a lot of people with their hands on you, raising you up, but I gotta say Ted and Shannon pushed you up above everybody, and really done a lot for this race team. And
they have.
And their family, their friends, everybody needs a Ted and Shannon.
They do. For sure.
Along the lines of that, a lot of people tried to get our Ted and Shannon, but they're very good people, and I really felt bad for them because so many people reached out to them because we were promoting them as we should, and it led to them getting contacted for people wanting from them, and that's part of that's the nature of the beast, but
right.
Anyhow.
So we realize we have to be traveling. Like that's what we got to do. So, with the help of Mr. Ted and Miss Shannon, Eddie Smith, tons of other sponsors. We had other, I wouldn't say little sponsors because they were very significant, coming on board, and we're like, okay, where's our next move? Where are we going next? So we talked to Brooks Strength, and Brooks was like, you have to go to the Masters. Well, also, I was on a podcast. I don't remember the name of it, but they were like
from
Wisconsin, and they were like, "You have to come to the Masters." And I was like, "Wisconsin will never be there."
Far,
So then we talked to Brooks, and we're like, "We're going to Wisconsin."
Yep.
So we show up in Wisconsin, and again, it's like, wow, this is what we need to be doing. This is how we're going to be able to sustain what we're doing, and it was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
we'll go more in depth about that right here. So after the trip to Bristol, we've got these sponsors coming on board, and the great thing about these sponsors, they're not trying to tell us what we need to be doing.
Right.
They're telling us we're here for y'all to do what y'all are doing, and we're here to help you do what you want to do. And I've always told you I feel like that's a better deal,
right?
Because a lot of these race teams are they're owned, and these people have to do what somebody's telling them to do, and you own this whole get up. So that's made it great. So we've learned a lot having the YouTube channel. We've had some negative comments that initially we didn't have as thick a skin, and I think that we took everything so personal. And
I think we still do. I think we're just a little bit more disciplined.
Yeah. I agree with that statement, because it still stings, but we can pass by most of the time. Sometimes I just have fun with it, and y'all say something, I'm like, man, I'm just having fun. I'm not in my feelings.
Yeah. So if you put out a hate comment, it's generally either you or mom that ends up.
Yeah.
So
usually I'm just having fun with them. I'll just go back and just be a smart aleck, So anyway, and it's all good. It is what it is. But we learned, technical issues. We've had a few, like we used to try to do, and we just had one. The camera just went out. That's been the biggest struggle, is trying to find a battery on a real camera. That camera was great. We may look a little different now than we did just a second ago, because we had to get up and change the battery, and that didn't work. So now we're on a different type camera, which is fine. But we still have technical issues.
Technical issues are a major part of it, and trying to tailor to what is best for not only the viewers but for us, to where we're not burnt out on stuff. And what ultimately you see with other big YouTube channels that we're trying to implement is consistency, like posting on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Like, you watch your YouTube channels that you watch the most, like your mental alarm clock's going off. Okay, on Tuesday, blah, blah, blah is posting a video. So that's been the hardest thing for us to adapt to, because we're a family, we travel a bunch, we're this and that. So there's a lot of times that we're out on the road, or we're doing something, or really just don't feel like doing it,
Well, this is a job.
100%.
And I don't think, I don't know, maybe people do realize, and I'm not whining, because there's a reward here. Okay?
The ones that think it's easy, that try it, realize.
Yeah,
and they
realize
admit
real
it.
quick.
So,
yes, absolutely. And along the lines of the comments, I've found that a lot of the people that are negative are the same ones that'll pounce on you. And, oh, there was a commercial on there and blah, blah, blah. Well, this is, they bash other channels on our channel, and eventually they bash us for the same thing. And it's usually about us being money hungry, and that's all they're about. No, that's not all we're about. That's not all the other channels are about. But if you're going to put in all this work, you should get paid for it, or you should be working towards getting money for what the hour. You don't go and work 40 hours a week for free.
Right.
You're looking for a return on your work, and we're no different.
Yeah. So I think that's the hardest thing right there, is adjusting to negativity, trying to find the balance of when to post, what to post, how long to post. Because that's the thing. I'm 21 years old. I watch a lot of YouTube.
He wouldn't still be here. I can tell you right now.
I promise you.
If he hit play on this video, probably he may have lasted 30
have made
seconds.
It past the intro.
He'd be gone.
Yeah.
He's out.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm that guy that'll listen to every word you said. I may come back and listen to it again and try to understand what you meant in a certain spot, and I'm that guy. But You know, I get
it's an age difference, you know, and that's the thing that you've got to realize. YouTube gives you a ton of analytics where you can look at your age demographic, and I guess that's the major thing is like we have no viewers in my age bracket, but your age bracket, 90% of our viewers are your age and up. And hey, look, that's fine. That's what's paying the bills. So we got to tailor to those people.
People my age have a job,
right?
And they got money.
Hey, I'm not. I didn't.
I'm just saying.
Look,
no, I know. I'm just teasing.
I didn't throw shade teasing. There. I'm just saying you've got to. That's the things that we've had to try to, you know, figure out is
well, just like that. You know, like used to. I do all the editing. Chase videos, I video, Avery videos. It's a whole family team right here. And if you go watch some of our videos, you'll see. But doing the editing, there were a time that I was making 45-minute long videos, and that was the norm. They were 45 minutes long, and they were, you know, it was all moving along. It was a whole bunch of clips, and I took my time and edited all of it, and it was one long movie that told a story all the way to the end. And then someone from YouTube messaged us and said, hey, you should break that down and put it in the smaller clips, and it changes the analytics, and it puts it in a different category if you make them 22 minutes or less. So I tried that for a while. And if I had a 40-something long minute video, I would chop it in half and turn it into 2 videos. And that seemed to work for a while. And then YouTube changed everything again. And I'm not so sure that that's right now. So now it's kind of back up to the
YouTube's
to
like racing. I mean, you walk up to the fence, you look at a track, you go to adjust for it, you walk back up and watch the class that's racing there, and you're like, or they just dumped the water to it. They brought the water truck out. Yeah. So, you know, that's the challenges to all platforms. You know, it's not just social media, and we're not complaining. We're just stating, you know, that's the difficulties.
Some people took
it
personal, like that we made these long videos or that we cut them in half, and that we were just, and I'm like, man, it's nothing trying to make people angry or anything. And I changed the music recently, and I had a lot of good comments, and then I had some just so negative, and it's like, man,
I think that goes back to the age demographic.
Yeah.
You know, y'all are not subject to a lot of change. Y'all are consistent, you know, and that's the thing is when the music's this, it may not be the best thing, but they get used to that, and now it's something totally different, and it appeals to me, so naturally it's not, you know.
Well, I mean, I would love to throw some Hank in there or some Leonard Skinner or some AC/DC, but in this business, you get copyrighted. So you can't just put in it. We have to be careful at a racetrack. If the music's playing in the background, YouTube will take our money.
That drives me up the wall.
So we have to be very careful in the shop, out in anywhere, that there's not music, because we'll get copyrighted. And it has happened, and they do take our money from our videos. So when we're relying on that money, we got to make sure that we're at least smart about it.
Check all the boxes.
So that's why I'm playing around with some new music, and this is a copyright-free music, you know. So we're just trying to move forward and change things up, and that goes along the lines of our future plans, and we're going to talk more about that.
You're looking at it. Here's the future. You know what I mean? This is a part of it. This is phase 1. So join us here in just a second for more.
So the future plans of CHR. We shutting down? You going to be a pipe welder like your dad?
If you'd have heard this morning, I'm going to be a machinist and everything else.
How many times a year, though, does that happen?
Not very frequently. Typically, it's y'all. Hey, you realize you might need a real job, and I'm like, nah, I'm living this dream. I'm riding it till the wheels fall off of it. But this morning, I was like, man, I could go turn a lathe on or run a mill and
not have to worry about this crap. Yeah. So we probably should have done this in part 1, but I'm going to dabble on this real quick. So Chase Holland is 21 years old, graduated from Christian Collegiate Academy in 2021, and went straight into a trade school. He is a certified machinist, and he did all this while we were racing. He's laughing, but I mean, I'm proud. I'm proud, Dad. He wanted to be a machinist. He went to Votech in high school, And then when he got out, he went and got certified. And
I had a really, really, really good teacher to let me go racing, because originally the original professor, or whatever you would call him, said you're either going to be a machinist or you're going to be a race car driver. And he quit the day before we were supposed to go. So this new teacher walks in, and she's great. Yeah. I mean, she's like, hey, as long as you get your stuff done, go.
Yeah.
So I was able. My dreams weren't put on hold to chase to have another career pathway. So, yeah,
Miss Jamie was great.
She was, for sure.
And I greatly appreciated her working with you, because it allowed us to go do a lot of traveling and a lot of racing and a lot of growing of this YouTube channel.
Right.
To I don't know. It just opened a lot more doors that if we would have had to put this on hold for that year, I don't remember, was it a year course?
It was a 9-month, I believe.
I don't
pretty much
think
a year.
this would have sustained at that stage if we would have shut the door on it for that long.
Yeah, so that was the following year. I've seen some local
guys do that. They've shut down their page because they got going and like, oh, this is hard, I don't really know, and then
come back and it's over. I'm not being mean, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it hadn't have been for her being lenient, I wouldn't have been able to continue this, and I would be a machinist at this point.
So what's your goals, Chase, for CHR for the future here? What's your goals?
Free.
That's everybody.
Yeah. Goal. No. Man, I just along the lines of that, I want to be able to go and race comfortably and be able to meet our fan base and be able to continue what I do more comfortably than what I'm doing it. And I'm blessed. I'm not complaining about where I'm at, but it would be nice to not have to worry about where I'm going to come up with the money to go racing next week every week.
So Dad has pounded that into you. So I'm going to ask you, do you know the path to get there?
Social media, producing more content. So that's why we're sitting at this table.
So to race more comfortably, we need to put out more content and put more effort into this. And this is nice. What you've done here, this is all new equipment just for this right here. Yep. And I think this is what you're working on.
I think it's great. If this is what every episode's like, maybe we won't have any viewers, but I'm enjoying it. I think it'll be a really good thing, especially when we bring other guests in and do things like that. Yep. I think you will get tired of us steadily going back and forth, but when we bring new people, I don't want to bring necessarily just racing people in. There's tons of my sponsors that have no tie-in to racing other than they just love racing,
Absolutely.
And I would love to have them on here, all kinds of stuff. So the sky's the limit for this. It's not just going to be just strictly diehard racing. That's the point of this, is to have a diverse content base here. Yeah. I need to be a better media guy than a race car driver, but that's hard because at 21 years old, when I show up at the racetrack, that camera is the least of my worries. You know what I mean? Like we work all week in the shop to get prepared and ready to go racing, and then when I get to the racetrack, it's like, okay, we got to produce results to prove that we did everything.
And racing is a humbling sport, and there's been many a nights that I can tell you I did not want to turn the camera on because it wasn't good. But I want to just touch on one thing before we wrap this up in the next segment here. I just want to say that the people we've mentioned are just a few of a lot of people. Yep. Like there have been people that have done so much for us, from KK. He knows who he is. He bought us our first Spring Smasher, and that was over the top, and we had a coffee company that came on board at one
of the
time.
Coolest.
It was great. I look back at the videos I was scrolling, and one of our thumbnails was me and Rocky in them hats, and we were baristas or whatever. I mean, when I look back at some of this stuff, and we had Aaron Ray, with the roofing business that bought us our tire demon, and we've had a lot of people
DLH
come
Home
in.
Solutions. That guy was an MMA fighter.
He was a cage fighter.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
How
I thought
cool
that was awesome.
just Mr. Nick Bauer.
There's several. You know,
Mr.
we could sit
GW,
here and spend
I'm
a whole
telling you,
podcast in
I would hurt
itself.
feelings because I'm going to leave out people and not on purpose. Man, there's so many people that have done so much, you know, the Mars crew and everybody. There's just so many people. Jason Nices, you know, we're sitting here in front of his car here with this Champion commercial HVAC. We met him through YouTube.
Yep.
And I'm not up here boasting. I'm just telling you that we
It takes
put in the
some
work.
warming.
It took a lot of work to initially get it growing.
Right.
But once we got it rolling, these people came to us, and I got to give it credit to you guys for watching us and growing us and telling your friends. And next thing you know, we were able to land sponsorships that I never imagined, you know, ever seeing. So.
Yeah. I dreamed it, but I didn't think it was possible, you know, and I think that's the ultimate thing about social media is like you work a job, and I'm not talking down on any job because I know it takes all different kinds of people and all different kinds of tasks to rule the world. But, you know, you show up at a job and you're set. Like the max you're going to make with this career is X.
Yeah.
The max you're going to perform with this is X. This social media day and age, there's no limit.
Cap.
There's no cap
there's
on
no
it.
cap.
You know, and I guess that's the thing is maybe at some point it does go back downhill to where having an actual skill is very important, and it's still important today. But if you're a good marketing person and can get in front of a camera and can produce content, you won't go hungry for sure.
Well, you got the best of both worlds because you learned your trade. I've taught you how to weld. You know, you've seen a lot. You can do a lot, but I still say I spent a lot of time behind the hood in my years of welding, and this is the easiest job I've seen. And if you can make a career out of it and go enjoy your life and travel the country and do all those things, and I that's why I encourage you to keep pushing on this right here. And along the lines of that, you know, like I said, Mr. Jason Nices, so many more people. I don't want people to think that you're not important, that we didn't mention you. There are so many more people that have helped us along the way to get us where we are, and we're very grateful to all of y'all. And that leads me to the toter home. Yeah. That was probably the worst day of your life.
Oh, it was definitely
the best and the worst day.
Sure.
So he thought he wanted a toter and a stacker and a toter, and we found one, and it was his. He kicked off a new fan club, we called it. It's called Patreon, and it's in connection with the YouTube channel, and it's basically where the sure enough fans can give a little more rather than just watching the video and helping him get paid by the views. They can actually do a monthly subscription, and there's a few tiers of payments. You know, you can be a $5, a $15, or $20, or
and
5,
in return,
10, 20.
we provide you with more behind the scenes content and other elements of stuff. Like I've got a helmet camera that's in there with me that I think is pretty neat.
Oh, it's awesome.
The in-car footage. You know, we do a podcast on there. There's merch packs, there's discounts and stuff like that. So I don't want to try to sell that to people, but also along the lines of that right there, if you're interested in more stuff, definitely check out our Patreon. But yeah, this toter pulls up in the yard and it's massive. And I'm like, one, I don't know how to drive it. And two, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it.
It's his.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was getting to about the YouTube and paying for this thing is this cat, we're looking at money and we're like, in terms of money, you have none. There's no way when it's all said and done at the end of the month that you can afford more.
Right.
So how are we going to do this? And he kicks off this Patreon thing, and the people jump on board, and all of a sudden what that payment was, he's got. And we're like, wow.
What a blessing.
We're over a year now, and those guys, you guys, all of y'all that are Patreon members, that's what pays for that toter and that stacker. And that's something that he couldn't have bought. I couldn't afford it. And it's amazing. And it's not brand new, but it gets the job done. And
it certainly makes our lives easier going from what we used to have. You know, we used to have to pretty much unload our entire trailer to be able to race. And now we're unloading the essentials to go and race, you know, because we have so much storage. But yeah, the Patreon thing definitely opened up a new door for us to be able to do what I do more comfortably and more efficiently. So,
well, we started out with my pickup truck and my old utility trailer out there. That's what we hauled at you to the first track with your race car. And to see you roll up in that rig there, and like I said, it's not a boastful thing, and it's not, hey, look at me. We travel, so we have to bring our shop with us and our spare parts, and it's got it all in there, and the guys have to have a spot to sleep, and it does it all. And man, I'm very, very thankful for that.
I am as well. I definitely, we could not do what we're doing right here. We talk about the sponsors, we talk about the Patreon, we talk about this, but you as a viewer, whoever you are, whatever you are, we couldn't do what we're doing without your view right now, So that's the important thing, is it takes you guys in order to make this go around too. So it's an army, like I mentioned earlier. It takes an army. It's not just one source. So I don't know where it ultimately goes. Like I said, I just hope that I'm able to do this more comfortably and efficiently in the coming years, whether that's in a modified, a super late model, or a bang banger, wherever it ends up.
We could probably fit about 5 of them bang bangers in there.
And it'd probably be a lot cheaper to race on.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah.
I've seen some of them things.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap it up right here.
Yep. So that ultimately is going to wrap up this episode of Off the Gas and On the Mic with Chase Holland. This is not just a one and done thing. This is something that we plan to do more and more. Hopefully one a week. That's what I'm shooting for.
That's a good goal.
One really good one a week. So yeah, what we ask in return is, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this podcast, let us know. We really want your opinion on this, what you would like to hear more of, less of. If there's something we didn't touch on that you would like to hear us dabble on, please let us know. But yeah, ultimately, we appreciate each and every one of y'all supporting our YouTube channel. If you don't follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those platforms, we recommend that you do, so that you never miss an update from our family. And if you want to see more content like this and, more behind the scenes stuff about our family, you can check that out on Patreon. All the links to that are in the description below. So yeah, that's gonna conclude this one right here. Episode
Where are we
1.
racing at this weekend, Chase?
Man, I don't even know.
Looking like maybe the mag.
The mag, I got an offer that may or may not come forth for Friday night in a modified.
Okay.
So we'll see. Maybe racing a modified at Hattiesburg Speedway. But sure.
in the meantime, like Chase said, you can watch all the action of all the racing on Chase Holland Racing right here where you found this at. Go through our videos, check them out.
Yep.
We appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Later.
Thank you for listening to Off the Gas and On the Mic with Chase Holland. What'd you think about what you heard? Please follow for more content just like this.